Today is our 12th story, and I will call it The Path of the Kings. Few months before we complete the temple of the construction of the Temple of India and the inauguration and all of that. From then, we were talking with my late wife, Gweli, about what we are going to do with our life after completion of the terraces. And we both were very, very tired and exhausted. And really, our plan was that we go to Canada, Toronto, and we will give ourselves a few months of recovering, and then I will start thinking of an office and my work. This was our discussion, and we were eagerly looking toward the end of the projects. I see my dear brother Kamal Fozdar is on the line. He was very much with us every minute of that time, and so whatever I say, he understands very well. At that time, just when we were a few months before the inauguration, our dear friend, Mr. Douglas Martin, that I knew him from when he was Secretary of the National Spiritual Assembly of Canada, and then had visited us in India a few times, had stayed with us, and we loved him very much, and his very, very dear wife, Elizabeth, that was a magnificent artist and a great lady. He came to Haifa, to Delhi, and then as we were discussing about the things that are ahead of us, he told me that, I guess you will be called to Haifa because the ARC projects, they have started ARC projects for two and a half years before that, but there was not much progress, and Douglas told me that the House of Justice is very concerned about that, and he said that, I guess they will ask for your help. But honestly, I talked to my wife, we thought about that, and we said that, we are so tired and out of commission. So in a way, we decided that if they ask us such a thing, we apologize and we say that right now we need to do a bit of restoration on ourselves. 2 weeks before the inauguration of the project, we received a letter from the House of Justice. It was very, very kind and generous. House of Justice showered us with love, all our family with name, including children, and they showered us with love, and they said how together with all of my team in Canada, in India, what a wonderful job has been done, and the House of Justice is very pleased and happy. And they have told me that the House of Justice generously has invited us for 1 month to be the guest of the House of Justice in Haifa, and also be able to participate in one full pilgrimage together with all the family members, and be during that period, be guest of the House of Justice. And also we were told that House of Justice is aware that for last few years we had not gone to any, we have not had any vacation, and we need a real vacation. And the House of Justice also generously offered us that we can go anywhere in the world we want for 1 month of holiday as the guest of the House of Justice. I mean, this was really something. For years, we could not even think about going to holiday and leave. It was not really something although it has never been something in my culture. Even, I don't think that my father even knew the meaning of yearly leave or vacation and all of that. That was something. It's something really modern. In fact, I remember my dear really friend, Mr. Ramnik Shah, that I loved him really like a father, and he was such a wonderful soul and very, very loving friend of us during all of that. Mr. Shah was insisting for years that I wouldn't go for leave, was insisting that you need to go to a holiday. And I was refusing. I said, there is no time and this and that. Eventually, he convinced us that we go to just for 1 week, only for 1 week, go to Kashmir. It is a wonderful place and all of that. And we accepted. So we accepted, and all the way we went to Kashmir. And traveling in India is not a fun. It's a big thing by itself. Anyhow, we went to Kashmir. The day I arrived, I received a telephone call from Mr. Shah that please come back. I said, thank you so much for so much insisting that we go on a holiday. That was it. So in any case, this story had gone to House of Justice, had heard it, maybe from members of the National Assembly or Mr. Shah, or I don't know. Anyhow, that was the story. Now, we were very happy. We sent all of our shipment, all of our furniture and everything to Toronto by ship, and then ourselves to Holy Land. This was just maybe a couple of months after completion of the temple. So we delivered everything and we have gone. When we reached to Holy Land, of course, we were honored to be invited to the council chamber of the House of Justice. And as it's tradition of the House of Justice, was very generous, welcome us, and all of that. And they told me that the House of Justice has been struggling with the progress of the ARC projects at that time, and they think House of Justice believes that I am the only one who could help in this project, and they want me to consider that, and they gave me a big file as thick as Dawnbreaker's book of the correspondence and the situation and all of that has happened in the past. And they asked me that in this 1 month that you are our guest here, please look at this also and give us your opinion. And as it is my attitude, I sat and read it in 2 days, non-stop. So much for my enjoying Holy Land. But I finished that, and I informed the House of Justice that I have read it and I'm ready. Anyhow, then after I received that statement, we heard House of Justice, both me and my wife, that House of Justice said that they think that I'm the only one who can do this work and I have to do it. I consulted my wife and I said that, yes, I know that we had been so tired and we had decided not to engage in another really very hectic project for the time being and think about our children and ourselves, do something. But the fact is that I told my wife that I think we can save at that time that there was an estimate of the project and all of that. I said that I believe that if I get involved and I do that, I can make a saving of at least $30 million for the House of Justice. And there is no way that I can contribute personally $30 million to the faith. But in this way, we can contribute that. In fact, we did exactly $50 million at the end. That was reduction from the approved budget of the project. And so we said that we have no choice but to accept this invitation of the House of Justice. Also, House of Justice told us that it has decided that I should design the terraces of the Shrine of the Bab in addition to the project management and construction of the Ark projects, that by itself was gigantic, to do the terraces of the Shrine of the Bab. And I want to tell you that although this, many friends have asked me, why to put these two projects together while at the same time that there is so much pressure it will come. But I want to say that this decision of the House of Justice that we combine these two projects together, in fact, was a real blessing, and it was real a confirmation and guidance of Baha'u'llah, because it was impossible that we could have built the Ark projects without terraces for several reasons. First of all, political reason, that the Ark projects were private Baha'i buildings that are not open to public, and the government and many organizations, fanatic organizations, some jealous institutions would have not liked it. And the municipality would have not given us those clearances and those approvals of the town planning scheme and this and that were very, very critical issues, very critical issues. Because right at that time, the plan of the town planning scheme of the city of Haifa that had been in force from the time of British mandate, from the time of Beloved Guardian, was that the street behind the Shrine of the Bab will be widened by 11 meters, and the two other roads will cross the Baha'i property, and this was something that would make impossible to build the terraces or to build even the Ark properly. And it would have made the whole Baha'i property in a way useless and full of traffic and noise and all of that. It was not something that was possible. It could be resolved. It was resolved only because of combination with the terraces. Now, if you have time in future, I will mention about that. But at this time, I say that, okay, we started this, and I decided that I have to go to Canada first in order to settle my passport and my citizenship in Canada. I had landed immigration of Canada, but not citizenship. And I decided that we go there. House of Justice also said that you have to go there, and because it was so difficult to do all of those things and responsibilities with just a simple Iranian passport. So we did that, and also my father was quite old and was toward the end of his life. He was in Canada, and it would have given me an opportunity to spend some months with him before he passed away. And that is what we went to. But we decided to go, instead of Toronto, that was our plan, and we had shipped all of our furniture to Toronto, we decided to go to Vancouver, where my father lived. And we were concerned that now what we are going to do with our furniture and all of these things that comes. And as always, God takes care of his business very well. As we arrived in Vancouver, we were informed that our shipment by mistake had been shipped to Vancouver. I said, what a wonderful mistake, because if I wanted to change the direction, it would have been impossible. But by, I don't know, by grace of God, it came to Vancouver. And they called me that, shall we send it now to Toronto? I said, no, please keep it. And we got our things. And then we started working on, I started to work on both communicate with the different departments of the House of Justice about the ARC projects, about the plans, programs, and all of that, and coordinate with Mr. Amonat, that he was also in Toronto, in Vancouver. So it would have given us opportunity to coordinate many things at the beginning and do our work. That was the, so, and in total, I spent, I think, about about 1.5 years that we lived in Canada, in Vancouver, and we took care of those business. And I worked day and night on the design of the terraces and the coordination of the ARC projects. Now, in one of these periods, I went to Haifa for consultation, and when I was in council chamber, House of Justice asked me, did you go for that leave that we had asked you to go? I said, yeah, you know that, I mean, leave, it is, the vacation is not in my blood. I was told that next time I cannot go to Haifa unless I have gone. So that was it. That was the instruction. So I went and obeyed this instruction, and we had, and I start working very seriously on the design of the terraces. Now, believe me, these projects are not a project that you pray for it. You pray that you become the architect of that, because it's so difficult. It's so challenging. I mean, how you want to work on a shrine of the Bab? Imagine with all of those Abdul Baha Abdul Baha in one of his writings, he says, I mean, he referring to Mount Carmel, he says every stone of that building, referring to the shrine of the Bab, every stone of that building, every stone leading to it, the path of the terraces, says every stone I have with infinite tears placed in position. So you want to go and move all of those stones that Abdul Baha has put with infinite tears in place, and move the mountain and do all of those things. In another place, Abdul Baha says, a person standing on the summit of Mount Carmel and the passenger of the steamers coming to it will look upon the most sublime and majestic spectacle of the whole world. The most majestic, really, development in the whole world. Abdul Baha talks about. So you want to ask to design the most majestic, it's very difficult. And now, at the same time, I wanted to tell you that, the Bab, the Bab himself in Persian Bayan, he talks about this, when he talks about the perfection in all things. The Bab says that he doesn't want, in Persian, he says, I do not want to see any work that has been there from any of the people of Bayan. Anything happens that is not in the most excellent, beautiful perfection. And then about the perfection, he says, For example, if someone builds a building, he's talking to architects, he says, and that building is not the most beautiful things that he could have worked on it in the most excellent perfection. Every atom of that building, and he says, not only every atom of that building, but all of the concourse on high, they curse him because he failed to create some perfection like that. Now imagine that you want to design something on his shrine, for his shrine, and if it is bad, you don't want ever to go to the shrine of the Bab. And often when I was going to the shrine, how often I prayed, I would pray to the Bab that if my design is not what it should be, please, in a dignified way, put me aside, let me disappear in a dignified way, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do something that it is not worthy of this magnificent holy shrine. And this is not normal prayer for the architects, because normally you do not have such kind of concerns. Now, I say a few words about the concept of the design, because I was looking. You cannot, when you are designing the shrine of the of the terrace of the shrine of the Bab, you're not just designing something, a beautiful garden, or you're not designing something that by itself is excellent or beautiful. It's so important that it works together with the shrine of the Bab. It is at the service of the shrine of the Bab. It pays tribute to the shrine of the Bab. It completes the shrine of the Bab. It's not taking anything from the shrine. It's not competing with the shrine. It's not something more prominent than the shrine. It is something that it is, but you realize that the size of the terraces is, I don't know, 20 times of the shrine. So it's so important. All of those concepts, those are at the same. So I was thinking that whatever I want to design, it should be based on some of the guidance of Baha'u'llah, of Abdul Baha, of the Bab himself, something from Beloved Guardian. It's not something that just it came to my mind. It should have a reason. It should have been like that. It should have been like that. So I have to find something like that. And I looked everywhere. I was talking to a few of our wonderful Baha'i scholars in the writings of the Bab, and I was just looking for something like that. And then I noticed that, first of all, in chapter 2 of the fifth Wahed of Persian Bayan, the Bab himself is talking about 18 mosques that will be built in the name of the letters of the living. He says that concerning the 8 mosques which are before the 10, that means 18, it is meet for such as shall be able in the religion of the Bayan to erect 18 new mosques in the name of the letters of the living of him whom God shall manifest. And I seem to see lamps suspended therein according to the number of Mustafas. In fact, we don't have translation of the Persian Bayan, authorized translation of Persian Bayan so far. But what I read for you is a translation that Edward Brown had done. And that's very interesting that in his translation, he, in a subtitle, he said that it appears that here the Bab is talking about his own shrine. Although later on, after consultation with some of our Baha'i scholars, I requested Mr. Mujan Momen in England, as per my request, looked at the actual book that Edward Brown had used for translating the Persian Bayan, and we found that he had in fact done a mistake. A word has been wrongly read by him, and he has said that. But nevertheless, this subtitle made me to think about it, and I said to myself, but it's a fact that where we are going, I thought, where on the earth we are going to make 19 mosques? And what is the mosque? Mosque is, I would say, a place where people go and prostrate. They prostrate in front of God. Where Abdul Baha says that these terraces, all the kings and rulers of the world, they come and they prostrate on that. So in a way, I thought that this is the only place where they are going to build 18 places that people will pray and will prostrate and say prayers. And this is where the Bab is referring to. And he says that he sees that to the Adad Mustaghas. Mustaghas is a name of Baha'u'llah, one of the names of Baha'u'llah. And in the Adad Abjad, that is a numeric relation between letters and numbers, this is equal to 2001. So he said, and the word used by the Bab in Persian Bayan, although it's Persian, is word lantern. Lantern. Lantern is a French word that the Bab is using in his Persian Bayan. And he says that I see that there are but then I thought that here the Bab is referring to, and when I at the same time I read the what Abdul Baha said and Beloved Guardian had emphasized, terraces of lights upon lights. I thought that here the Bab himself is referring to an ocean of light that is covering the mountain, it is. But that's interesting that the inauguration of the terraces was done in year 2001. That is number of Mustaghas anyhow. In another very important reference from Beloved Guardian, he refers to Shrine of the Bab. He considers that center of universe. He says the Shrine of the Bab is center of universe. And then he's talking about, and he says that it is center of 9 concentric circles that emanate from the shrine. But then he describes these 9 concentric circles that will encompass entire universe. The circle 18, the ninth circle cover entire universe. But then in his quotation, he says, just as in the realm of the spirit, the reality of the Bab has been hailed by the authors of the Baha'i revelation as the point round whom the realities of the prophets and messengers revolve. So, on this visible plane, his sacred remains constitute the heart and center of what may be regarded as 9 concentric circles, paralleling thereby and adding further emphasis to the central position accorded by the founder of our faith to one from whom God has caused to proceed the knowledge of all that was and shall be, the primal point from which have been generated all created things. So somehow here I thought that beloved guardian says that even on this visible plane, that 9 concentric circles is visible. So I thought that somehow I have to have reference to these 9 concentric circles. Of course, there are many quotations and things that we don't have time to talk about that. But in Revelation of St. John, chapter 22, verse 1, he says, a pure river of water, the pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. Throne of God and the Lamb. Lamb in holy writings, it is considered, it's often referred to the Bab because he was sacrificed. So somehow in my mind, I thought the terraces, the shrine should become the center of 9 concentric circles. It should be flooded with lights. A fountain of life, of water of life, should cascade down from the shrine to the city, comes down, and should be everywhere with the people. And this whole complex should be very prominent, at the same time not prominently visible. I don't know how I can describe it. Because, for example, if you look at the design of Mason Rini that is published in Baha'i World volumes of the terraces of the Shrine of the Bab, and in fact, Beloved Guardian has published it there as a proposal that has been given. Of course, he didn't approve it, but he published it for the just happiness of the friends. In that, the terraces are so prominent that the shrine is hard. Now, here I'm trying to share inspiration and the spirit of the design with the slides. Of course, for me, I have always, all of these years, I had the prison of Maku on my, it was the most really important source of my inspiration for these terraces, because we wanted to change, because as I mentioned in my previous talks, we have in writings of the Bab himself that how beautifully he emphasized, he says that this prison of Maku has turned to the really to the gardens of Eden, and so I constantly had this picture in mind. So because of that, I show it to you as my first source of inspiration. Then the second important fact on the design is the mountain, the position of the shrine itself. This picture is 1909. You can see under it says 1909. This is Shrine of the Bab, the part that Abdul Baha has built. These are those trees that Baha'u'llah stood there and showed the location of the shrine. And this was the mountain at that time. And you can see all of the property above, which is completely rockery, nothing, naked land. And then this is in 1950, almost 40 years later, when the construction of the shrine has started. and the German colony, the German street, is developed to some extent. And then this is 1960 that the shrine is built. This is in 1973. This is the condition of the gardens. Then I went there. It was impossible to walk in the garden, in the mountain. It was no access. The steep slope, very sharp, steep slope. At the top of the mountain, above the shrine of the Bab, sometimes we have almost 45 degrees slope. And the lower mountains, we have a little less. That is why, and then of course the terraces now. But here is what I want to emphasize. You see, in order to create a terrace, you have two ways. One way is to build a retaining wall and then make a flat level for the terrace. In that way, exactly like the design of masonry, we would have had walls all along of this. We had one wall and then one terrace, one wall, one terrace, one wall, one terrace. What you would see was just a continuous wall like a fortress. This is exactly the in the Baha'i World volume. You can see the photograph. I wish I will maybe identify it and show it to you later. I couldn't manage it this time. But I have done it completely opposite. I have gone into the mountain, and as the result, you have these slopes instead of wall. So you don't see the terraces. While all of those terraces are built, and they're there, but there is no wall. So the elements that have inspired the design, first of all, architecture of the shrine of the Bab itself. That's most important thing, because whatever we do, it should be in complementary to the shrine. I didn't want to come up with the symbols and ideas that are strange, because this shrine is like a flower. It should grow in this garden. It has come out of this garden, natural, organic. Or a shrine is like a diamond that we are building now. We are making a beautiful ring, setting for it. That ring should complement, should bring the greatness of the diamond out. It should create a setting for it. The ring should not look more obvious than the diamond. All that the ring does is to create setting for the shrine. This is my aim. Now, the shrine of the Bab, Mr. Maxwell has done a miraculous task of combining architecture of East and West, very dramatic. While, as per beloved guardian, the dome of this shrine is a reminder of the St. Peter in Vatican. You can see the arches are Indian. Many of the elements of the columns are Roman and Greek. Many of the elements of the building are Eastern. So beautiful combination of East and West. So I had used the same thing in the terraces. The terraces, everywhere you look, the elements of these terraces. Now, I will show you in the all of those elements have been taken, several of them, they are a reminder of the elements and details of the building of the shrine. Imagine, look at this. These handrail balustrades here, the balustrades, all of these balustrades, these arches that are between the balustrades are reminder of the arches of these windows. They are all same thing in finer scale. Now, I have used the same concept, gardens of East and West. Mr. Maxwell mixed the architecture of East and West. I have mixed our landscaping of East and West. This is Bagh Fin Kashan, one of the most famous Persian gardens. That's very interesting. In fact, if you search for Persian gardens on Google, you will find, I don't know, 30 pages of photographs. In every page, at least out of 60 slides that are there, maybe 6 of them are from terraces of the Shrine of the Bab, because they are so symbolic of the Persian gardens. So this is the spirit of the Persian gardens and the crystal water and all of that. And I have used the same elements, the gardens of Iran, the cypress and the orange trees and the fragrance of the blossom of orange trees are definition of Shiraz. Shiraz is, of course, you know, birthplace of the Bab, and where he declared his faith. So these gardens, one way they are gardens of Shiraz, and in another way they are gardens, the British gardens and Italian gardens, very much are reflected here. This is a drawing, and this is exact built. This is the bridge that we have done over the, at this stage, I'm just focusing on the concept of the design. So I had to bridge over the street, because if this is the path of the kings cannot come and wait for the traffic light to cross the street. We have done it, a bridge over that, which is a real miracle, because it was impossible to imagine that the government will allow us to bridge over one of the most important streets of the city that connects downtown to center. Center of the city is called Markaz in Israel, and downtown is considered Hadar. So Hadar to Markaz. And all of this combination. Now, this design should pay tribute to the Shrine of the Bab. Look at that it's all create that atmosphere, and all of these circles, these trees, at night, during the day, the circle of these cypress trees, if you look from the top, it's like a concentric circle that the terrace 9 and terrace 18, they create one circle. Part of that circle does not exist, but it gives the, and at night, lanterns. The Bab mentioned lanterns, so I have used all of my lights in the shape of lanterns. Lanterns are upside down, they're hanged, and the lampposts are straight. So this is all my lights are like lantern in the garden. So at night, you see the 9 concentric circle of lights. During the day, you see 9 concentric circles of cypress trees. And in between, everything is toward the shrine. Look at the curves. All the curves are going toward the shrine. Every line is directing you toward the shrine. You can never, the minute you see something, that line continues towards the shrine. So that you focus that you are going to the most important spot on earth. Light during the day, I have created this concept of lights from contrast between the green, emerald green of grass and dark, cool green of cypress trees and other trees. And look at the whole concept of the landscape. First of all, this mountain was on complete slope. That means right side of this slide was up, the left side of this slide was down. That means we had almost 15 meters of difference of levels between these two. We have excavated right side and backfilled on the left side. So we made the mountain to bow above, bow in front of the shrine of the Bab. Be straight and respectful to the shrine of the Bab. The whole landscape has changed like that. And the landscaping, the trees that are used here, if you look right at the center, you have this area that is comparatively small, and it's a very trimmed garden with flowers and grass and all of that. The minute you go on the side, it's the trees and drought resistance plants that they don't need water. So all that we need to water is the central part. And even often our central parts are not grass. All of the terraces upstairs, up above the shrine of the Bab, all of those terraces are English ivy, cut like grass, which is, again, very unique. It has never been used. Look at the effect of lights, because it's all supposed to look like something translucent, something shining, something that, and this light, it creates that spirit of really spirituality. And many of these slides I have taken from the website of the municipality of Haifa. There are thousands, I mean it, I don't know, maybe 10,000 photographs of the shrine terraces on the website that you can buy and order and all of that. They're beautiful, and really some of them are gorgeous, unbelievable. And there are also videos that has been shot by now. I did many of these things where I was there. We used helicopter. Now you can use drone, and it's really perfect. Look at the sharpness of garden, grass, and then as you see, as soon as we go out, we have these drought resistance succulents, cactus, and very tough plants. Although the garden looks so huge, and but we don't need that much water for it. And this is something that has been, many of these slides reminds me of the beautiful dress of the Bab in archives, that is so defined with such beautiful, elegant details. Architects, they believe God is in details, and that's true. Look at the details. And lights at night, again, it's something very, very heavenly. I mentioned during the years of, those weeks of war in Israel, that all the places, all of the houses are instructed to switch off their lights because of the problem, the situation of war. The government of Israel requested that this, or the perhaps municipality of Haifa requested that the lights of the shrine and terraces remains on, because these are the symbol of hope for the people. And when they see the shrine and they see this beautiful place, they feel they're safe. Look at the circle of the cypress trees of Baha'u'llah, that area where the Baha'u'llah stood, and the rest of the things. All of the things that you see are colors, terraces of lights, lights upon lights. You see these concentric circles, lights. They go and they go up like this. They go up, and they are, but then and the terraces up, they look like a halo around the shrine, creating beautiful spirit. German Templar colony that was restored at that time in consultation with me. And now it's really something magnificent. A very wonderful program of television of Canada, Vision TV, has made a series of films called Creating Eden. Creating Eden. They sent a wonderful team of photographers to Holy Land, and they have done this movie. If you watch it, I'm sure you can get it on the internet, and it's beautiful. They have done it about the temple, about the gardens, as the recreating Eden, Gardens of Eden. Look at this is from the site of the municipality. This is also from the municipality. Now at this circle, at the circle roundabout here, at the foot of the Shrine of the Bab, there is a sign from UNESCO that this complex is a World Heritage. And during special festivals like Christmas, representative of all the religions, they come, and the Israeli youth, they dance there. Maybe you have seen it. It's beautiful, really. They come. And this street now is heaven. Every night there are masses of people. And when the light in the dusk, when the light of the terraces comes up, the entire traffic on this street stops for a few seconds because they're so impressed by the lights. Water is another element here that is so, as I mentioned in words of St. John, that the water of life coming out of the place of the lamp. This is, we did it with consultation with a very wonderful Canadian water specialist, Mr. Van Seters. He advised me on behavior of water, how you can create a water that is pure crystal and it is not making noise. It doesn't make, because fountains normally they make too much noise. This should be very respectful, and it's really magnificent if you see the water in all of these fountains. This is a drawing. The same drawing has been given to the computer, and the computer has cut the stone. This is also drawing, and this is real design. This is a cascade at the entrance. This is a drawing, computer drawings. Marble details. These are really gorgeous. This stone is exactly the same stone used by Michelangelo in a statue of Pieta in Vatican. It's beautiful stone, and it's so difficult to get it. We have it. That's why it has been so nice in these fountains. Water is such an important element of these terraces. Color, the flowers have been designed. The flowers of the garden, garden beddings, and the plants and trees are harmonized together. There are different seasons. You have a purple season, you have a red, this is purple season, you have a red season, you have a yellow season. Look at the detail of these balustrades. These are all stone. These are Israeli stone. We have taken it from Galilee, sent it to Italy to be carved, and because they have done it with the computer. And it was used here. Look at the details. My late wife, Guli, that was ornamental designer, has helped me. She has been my partner in everything that I have done in my life. Everything that I have done, she was side by side with me in different way in India and different way in Haifa. But I don't want to give details. I want her to be introduced as my 50-50 partner on everything. Stone. You see the details? Thousands and thousands of drawings and details. I worked for all of those period of 15 years that we were in Haifa. Constantly we designed, because this was advantage of me being at the site, work at site, because normally architects, they design the building, they spend 1 year, 2 years in the drawings, and then they send drawings and they are built. But when you are in the place, you can constantly change things and improve things based on requirement of the place. These are stone benches for you to sit and pray, to be in harmony with the even classical buildings. Look at the design of the details. Here, grass goes into the green water. The green water is because of the green granite at the base, and the concept of this fountain is based on a Persian mirror work, mirror in color mirror. It's a very, very beautiful square, really. Every terrace has its own detail, because while they are more or less like each other, but at the same time referring to each one of them, because of the letters of the living that they were different. So the nature of each building is also different. Imagine the amount of work in all of these ornaments, all of these, even these eagles here that you see. We cast, this particular one is a stone, but most of them, they are cast, and we have cast them in our own workshop at site. We had an Australian friend, lovely young man, that helped us with casting all of those there. All of these gates have been manufactured by our own Baha'is in Haifa. The main iron main blacksmith that has done these works comes to this presentation in Persian language. He's there always, Mr. Dariush Haj Yusuf. He's a real artisan to create. These drawings was given to him, and he has done it with steel. It's just not something simple. It's very, very tough. Some of these gates are stainless steel. Unfortunately, all of them are not. And the life of a stainless steel is much more. But these are bronze. These details are bronze. They have been cast in Saudi Arabia and sent to us as a gift, designed by us in Haifa. one of the particular works that my wife was doing was gates and ironwork and details of ornaments, as you see. Look at this gate at the top of mountain. This is where you can fly to the Garden of Eden. That's why those eagles are starting to fly at the top of the gate. Harmony with city and the mountain. This is so important. Look at the harmony of everything, even roof of the tiles of the buildings on the German colony, and compare it with the tile work on our gardens and the terraces and everywhere. It's just the same thing. It's so natural. And you can see here the service gardens, because now even if someone faints in the terraces or need to go to a hospital, we have access road for emergency cars that they go there. But of course, you don't want to drive there. It should be a special driver. Certainly, I cannot drive there. This is the drawing. This is the same bridge. This is Abbas Bridge. This street is in the name of Abdul Baha, Abbas Street. Very wonderful place. I will talk to you about this eagle here. This is in one of our stories in future, I will tell you. Look at the detail of the terraces. You don't know what is the complexity of holding a slope like this, how to drain water here. Every step there are huge irrigation system, huge drain system, huge, it's unbelievable. The whole irrigation of these mountains is a state of art, is the most intelligent irrigation that you can see. One of our lovely Baha'i friends in Australia, Mr. Milani, Samandar Milani, that comes from the family that the body of the Bab then was stolen from the ditch of Tabriz. They were sent to his factory. His grandson was irrigation engineer here and has done a wonderful job. And Israel is known as state of art in irrigation system. And Israel government consider these gardens state of art in Israel. There is nowhere better than this. And often ministers of culture, minister of agriculture of many countries of the world, including 20 Arabian countries, have visited to see only our gardens and the way of irrigation in order to minimize the amount of water that is needed. And it's such a clever ideas. And all around, along this mountain, underground, there are services, facilities, huge water tanks, huge tunnels and bridges and access. There is a tunnel that comes from here and it goes here, it goes underground and it comes under to the car park of these buildings, comes to the car park of these buildings. The whole road goes underground. This is from the Universal House of Justice. The future significance of the terraces is evidence from their characterization by Shoghi Effendi as the pathway of the kings and rulers of the world. The beauty and magnificence of the gardens and terraces are symbolic of the nature of transformation which is destined to occur both within the hearts of the world peoples and the physical environment of the planet. This is so important. This is symbolic of that heaven that Baha'u'llah has promised to come to this earth. This is the symbol that we have done here. And where better than the shrine of the Bab? Look at the complexity of this garden and the concentric circles that comes with you. And as you go up, the water is also coming with you. Or when you come down, water will come down step by step. And you hear the step of water because the runnel is a step. So every step that you take, water also comes down one step. And it's really the voice of water and the presence of the water itself attracts birds. And the voice of birds and songs of birds camouflage the whole traffic of the city. So when you are in these gardens, you don't realize that you are in the city. This is the day of inauguration of the terraces, and these are 19% from every continent, every city, every country, and they are really representative of the entire world generations. And the buildings of the Ark, of course, was part of our out of this part of our project that we built. But as you know, the design of the Ark buildings was done by Mr. Hussein Amanat, my dear friend in Canada. This is the street under the bridge. And that is it.